Hi, this is Matt Curry, and you're tuning in to Becoming Great. Welcome back to July 28th, 2014. Just want to kind of say that I want to thank everybody for watching so far, and I also want to say that please feel free to comment below or send me an email at becominggreatmail@gmail.com. Today is about sticking to your schedule. I know that before I've talked about making a schedule, finding your priorities, and also finding your motivation to stick to everything. Scheduling can be very tough in that making a schedule can be easy, but sticking to it can be very difficult. We all have little things in life that will keep us from doing what we need to do. We have spouses, we have family emergencies might come up, friends, might need us to come help them, or you might be having to stay late at work. You might end up starting a little late at class. There might be traffic, so your whole logistics plan of driving from point A to point B, you might be completely thrown off there, and it might throw off the rest of your day. I understand how that can really hurt, and it's very important that you stick to your schedule as best you can. Um, the difference between people who are successful and people who are not successful is their ability to manage their time, manage their schedule, and also to stick to their schedule and deal with things when the road gets a little bit bumpy. Um, Once we commit to a plan and put it down on our schedule, we need to stick to the plan. We can't just say, this is what I want to do today, but X is what I want to do, and Y is what, kind of came up and what I want to do. Um, if we decide that our priority is to read a book for 2 hours a day, and you have a very busy schedule and you blocked off 2 hours that day to read the book, let's just say, you don't want to spend an hour and a half of that going to Starbucks. That might be 15 minutes out of the way. Talking to your friend for a little bit while you're there, maybe, and then driving 15 minutes back home, which only leaves you maybe about half an hour, 45 minutes after getting a coffee and having a little chit chat. Um, when we make the decision to say that we're going to stay at home and read a book, make the decision to say that we're going to draw an art project that we've had, to write part of a paper or write the whole thing that day, we need to stick to that plan. And I know that I am guilty myself of once in a while not sticking to it. But for the majority of the time, I make sure that when I write something down and when I say that I have a plan, I stick to it unless there's some type of gigantic emergency. And when those times do happen, it's very important that you reschedule. You look at your plan and you say that you look at your schedule and you say that I was going to do these three things today. Unfortunately, I was only able to get done one or get done two of them. Every day you should be able to look at your schedule and say, can I fit these things in tomorrow? And if I can't fit them in addition to everything else, because you shouldn't since we're filling up our plans, what needs to be pushed back? I know for a lot of people, at least for myself, when I want to write a paper, I'll make an outline first, and then I'll fill out the outline, making a rough draft, and I'll go over it, do some finishing touches on it. That's what I personally like to do. Some people like to make a half of a rough draft, 1 or 2 pages at a time, and say that we have a deadline of a week to write a paper. The first day that we were going to write an outline or write the first page kind of summary, maybe even looking up some things, we got caught up. For whatever reason, we got stuck in an accident on the way home, or mom and dad needed you to come help them mow the grass, shovel any snow or anything like that. Anything that could have happened. We needed to be there, and it was more important at the time than doing our paper. It happens. What we need to do then is say, if we can't do that paper tonight and stay up a little bit later, which I hope we're all able to do, but say that you've already stayed up late for something else because you only have so much time in the day. You need to be able to say that tomorrow I'm going to, instead of write the first three pages, the second and third page maybe, because you want to write the first one and look up some information, you're going to look up some information and write the first and the second. And then on the next day you were going to write that paper, you'll write the third in addition to the rest of the paper that you're going to write that day. It'll help catch up. And these are just some techniques that you're going to want to use in order to maintain your schedule and to keep to your schedule. We don't make schedules just because we're drawing lines in the sand. Oftentimes we make them for deadlines. So we want to make sure that we make all the deadlines we can. And having a schedule like that will help us rearrange some things that are not due exactly as close as what needs to be done. You might have something 2 weeks out that you were planning to just kind of get started on, that you know you can push an extra day or two from the planning back in order to take care of the things that are due this week. We've all been there, and it happens. And the reason why we need to know what our motivation is, why we're doing this, and what our priorities are, is that way then we can juggle our time, because we'll always have a lot of tasks to do. We'll always have things that we need to get done, but we only have so much time in a day, and we need to make sure how to effectively use that time. And while it can be very discouraging to maybe fall behind on a project, we need to use our motivation that we talked about yesterday, and we need to dig deep down and let that motivation fuel us in order to make sure we get everything done on time. We have the tools to do it, and we have the reason to do it. So all we really need to do is to stick to it. It's a very simple concept, but it is very difficult in practice. There's a lot of times where we're just going to want to give up, lay down, sleep the rest of the night, or turn on the television. And until you get done everything you want to do, you shouldn't do any of that, because you're going to fall behind. And you need to motivate yourself, because ultimately you want to see yourself succeed. And that's the biggest reason why you're watching this and why you're doing everything you want to do in life. It's because you personally want to see you succeed, and I want to see you succeed as well. So with all that being said, what I did today was a little bit of homework for my economics class. I have to do 2 discussions a week and respond to other people. So I wrote my discussions, looked up all the information I needed to, put that all out there. I tend to write about a page worth of information, typed up, single spaced. It's just what I like to do. It's how I feel like I can get the enough information I can get across. If I need to write more, I will. Sometimes I write less just because I feel it's not articulated well enough with less information. So it happens to be different for everybody. Some people feel like they get their point across in 5 sentences. I feel like I need 5 paragraphs. So not only did I do that, but I also read the lesson for this week. And I have one more lesson, one more chapter for me to read tomorrow before I get into my midterm exams on Wednesday and Thursday. Today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. So everything's looking great. My schedule's on time with that. I planned ahead in order to make sure that I could do everything on time, and everything's looking swimmingly for that. In addition with my economics homework, I decided that I wanted to do German as well tonight. Every other day, I've been sticking to it, and today I completed lesson 3. Now, something I want to tell everybody is that I didn't do all that well on the grammatical portion of the lesson. So, after I finished everything, I made sure to take the extra 10-15 minutes it took to redo the lesson and make sure that I got a 90+% grade. Now this is just for myself, and it would let me continue without getting that grade, but we want to be successful, and we're doing this for ourselves. We might be graded on this later on, whatever it is you might be doing. If you're at work, you need to make sure that everything is done correctly. If you're at school, you need to make sure everything's done to the best of your ability, if not 100% correct. And we all need to have standards, if not for ourselves, then for others, that others set upon us. So it was very important for me to go back and to do it correctly. We can't just say that doing it is okay and just having something done is okay all the time. We're able to do that sometimes, but that's when when you're at that point, I'm pretty sure you're very effective at managing your time and managing of what needs to get done in that time. But for me, I know that I can't just start and stop a project with it being very, very poor in quality. It doesn't sit well with me, and especially when I'm doing this for myself, I'm glad that I'm going to stop, take the time, the extra 15 minutes to make sure I do a really good job so I understand it, and to make sure that later on in life that these are the differences that make people who are successful and people who aren't. The people who are successful will make sure that they do it to the best of their ability, and if they need to spend an extra 15 minutes on to get that much more quality, they will do it. That's the difference between a person who is successful and a person who doesn't want to do the work and doesn't want to put in the time and is not successful ultimately. Lastly, what I'm going to be doing after this video cast is writing a little bit more on my book. I want to brainstorm the third section. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the whole thing tonight, but I kind of want to get down just some ideas. And I figure just putting a little bit of work into it tonight isn't going to hurt. If anything else stops, I can always go to like read a book tonight or do a little bit more studying as well, just on the side. But I feel like I have a little bit of extra time today, so I want to put that forward and see if I can get done things that are going to be due tomorrow, the day after, on my schedule. So, and again, it's a difference between somebody who is successful and someone who isn't, is someone who manages their time and someone who does something. Because I think that just putting a little bit of work into it tonight is going to be much nicer tomorrow when something gets in the way, as I'm sure it will, and I will still be able to have time to complete because I started today. Working ahead is always fantastic when you're doing your schedule, and it's always nice to readjust your schedule when you're ahead. But it leaves room for things to go behind as well. So, again, my name is Matt Curry. You're watching Becoming Great. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Leave a comment below, and please feel free to send an email to becominggreatmail@gmail.com. Thank you very much, and have yourself a great day, everyone.